Geno, right here in front to your left. Quick question, in this offense, how much latitude do you have to audible?
I mean, given the play, I mean, it depends on which play it is, but I mean, you can audible any play at any down, but you want to do things in structure, things that you've practiced. So, we won't just go out there and just make audibles just to make them. Everything that we do is built in within the system, and I'm not sure where you asked that question, but that's pretty much how we do it. Within the system, we like to make checks and stuff like that.
Geno, in terms of tonight, we asked Pete just about spot decision making, especially the ones where you took shots downfield. Can you just sort of summarize what took place and where you were at, in the game at the moment in taking those shots, especially the ones that got picked?
Yeah, the first play of the game was a play that we designed. Had an open guy, led him a little bit too far out front. Ball gets tipped up, gets interception. A play that obviously you want to have those plays back. You can't. I mean, it's the reality of it. Took a shot to Dante. Before the half. I thought he had a safety on him. Thought he had a shot. I gave him a chance. Obviously, it didn't work out in our favor. So again, those are things that I got to learn from and be better at. Anything that doesn't look right out there, you put that on my feet. Put that on my shoulders. I feel like I got to be a lot better for our guys. I know I have to, and I will be. And then the one to Jacoby, had a DB with his back turned. They were playing Tampa 2. Thought I could fit it in there. Obviously, we need to score 7 points in that situation. Field goal would have helped us, but 7 points would have put us in a better position. Ball gets tipped up again. I thought I put it in a decent spot where our guy can make a play. Ball gets tipped up. They make a play on it, and we don't get points. And so, I'm never going to make any excuses about anything. I've got to be better. We got to be better, and we got to show to improve on that.
Are you the type of quarterback that just flushed that game? It's kind of an unusual game for you, not up to your normal standards. Are you able to do that, or do you go back and watch it and learn from it? How do you kind of process and move on from a game like this?
No, I've got to learn from it. You know what I mean? This game's all about learning from your experiences, and this is a game again. I've had similar games in the past where things have, the ball has bounced, in an unfortunate way, or decisions haven't. I didn't make the best decision on a given play or the best throw. That's a part of the game, but you can never just say you can flush it. You got to learn from it. And so, I'm gonna be super hard on myself, extremely hard on myself, because that's all I know. I'm gonna get better this week. I'm gonna find ways to get better from this film, and we'll be better as a team as well.
Geno, Pete talked about right here. He talked about how they covered and maybe didn't use the word surprise, but he seemed to say maybe they were a little better than even coming in. You thought, what did you think in terms of how they covered and how they played defense?
Yeah, I mean, it was on tape. Last year they had a top 10 defense. They played really well in the red zone. All the things that we saw on tape. We expected them to do. They were a 90% zone team. I think they probably did that today. They stuck to what they do. They play their stuff. They play it well. They communicate. They get out there. They fly around. Hats off to those guys for playing a tremendous game. But for us, man, we never underestimate anybody. We expect it's the NFL. All these guys are capable. They're all worthy to be out there. So we got to go out there and make plays. And today we did.
Geno right here in the middle. So, I mean, obviously, between last week, you had one of the best games in the league last week, and you come into this game and obviously with this performance. Was this a situation where, you basically just kind of said that they made you play their game, so something along those lines? Did they do anything that they hadn't shown that maybe, surprised you when you came?
No, I didn't think anything was a surprise out there. I just think, the way that they play, the way that teams have been playing as of recent, there's going to be a lot of too high shells, there's going to be a lot of zone coverages. We're going to force offenses to be disciplined, and if you don't run the ball consistently, if you don't pass the ball efficiently, you're going to have a tough day. If you don't do well on third downs and situations in the red zone, if you don't score touchdowns, they're counting on that. With the coverages, you're going to have a tough day. And so I think it all comes down to execution. I think that was the main thing. We executed well at some times, and then other times we didn't. Had a 21-play drive, we ended with 3 points. So you want to make sure that you're scoring touchdowns on teams like this. And that's a championship team, and we're going to have championship teams every single week. We just got to get better and just focus and execute and go out there and play our game.
As far as the rushing attack, we asked Pete about Aston. He said, hey, it's his second pro game. We got to bring him along. But on the whole, how important is it for this system and how you play to have that balance, and how quick do you need that to come into play to get the passing game going?
Yeah, I mean, we got to have balance, but we can pass on anybody. We know that. but it's not about what we can do in the pass game. It's about what we can do as an offense collectively. Again, yeah, balance is the key to anything, to offense. We got to run the ball when we need to. We got to pass the ball when we need to, and we got to be efficient in both. So we'll get better at it. We'll find ways to get better at it. Find ways to be more efficient, and look towards the future. I think we got a lot of good things ahead of us. We just got to work at it.
Geno, this was your first home game being the Raiders starting quarterback. Can you give us your impressions of the stadium and the fans, please?
The fans were tremendous. I thought the atmosphere was great. Monday night game, first home game of the season. I thought it was awesome. I really wanted to get a win for the fans. Wanted to put on a better showing, obviously. But those are the things that we got to improve on, and we got to own home field. And so we're gonna make the proper adjustments and get right back to it.
All right, thank you guys. Thanks, Geno.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Geno.